Hello and welcome to this Ice Comedy podcast. Wow, I think this is three months worth. We did it.
Yeah.
Back home at my London flat. Just need to empty my stuff and then back. This will be the background. Wow, there you go. You're in for a treat, audience. You're in for a treat. Yeah, really not too much Doctor Who wise this week.
Nope.
Little bit more on Time Lord Victorious. Got some Eighth Doctor audio adventures shown, and a Master one, which was interesting in there.
Yeah.
With Delgado and Ainley, I think that was the two.
It's interesting how they're kind of focusing on different doctors in different companies. So, like, the BBC audio one's entirely focused on David Tennant, whereas the Big Finish one seems to be more...
Eighth Doctor.
Yeah, more Paul McGann.
Yeah.
So
no Ninth Doctor. What's happening?
Funny
there?
Again, it'd probably just be the books, like I said.
I find it very strange that they chose to do the Ninth Doctor when it's like, well, you can only do him in like comic and book form. I don't know. It feels like.
I mean, more Ninth Doctor content. I'm not going to complain about.
That's true. He is one of my favorites. I think tied with David Tennant, obviously. I think it's just childhood, nostalgia stuff, but he was also fantastic anyway. But yeah, so they look good, look interesting. Dalek one looks cool. I wonder if what I want is like a chronological order of which ones connect to what, though.
I was thinking that is like, okay, I'm not really going to invest in this until I actually know what sort of order I need to be, because like I could spend like however much to get a ton of this stuff, but if I do that and it's like, this is all misplaced, this one's supposed to come at the end and this one's like somewhere in the middle, and it's like that would just kind of be wasteful, wouldn't it?
It'd be really annoying as well. I'd just be like,
yeah,
unless you're supposed to like read it out of order, so it's like
there's clearly some sort of continuous continuity, because I think the David Tennant ones followed one after another.
Yeah, I'm guessing the book that's got to be the final one where they're all three of them there, 9th and 8th. It's got to be like that. That would make sense. Like it builds up to this thing, because then like the Doctor was in isn't he, like in the synopsis it said like the 8th Doctor's, well, it said a Doctor is in cohorts with the Daleks, well, the Doctor's biggest enemy, whatever, whoever that could be, most likely Daleks, but
they could literally mean size. Who is Doctor's biggest enemy?
But yeah, so I mean, it looks good, but really don't know much about it since I haven't done too much research. Been busy, have work, and other livelihood. I don't have time. I have time to slightly Google a couple of things. I don't have time for that.
Yeah, exactly.
So. Very informative. But then the other thing which I just watched, which was the Novice Hain little short for the new rewatch, or just new Earth.
Well, New Earth / Gridlocked.
Yeah, because they did both, which was interesting.
Yeah, they did one after another, because I guess they were kind of building up to the whole Novice Hain arc, I guess.
Yeah. It was a really nice video, very kind of solemn and peaceful, and I think new music from Murray Gold, which was really freaking awesome. If it was, like, I just don't remember hearing that track anywhere. It was very like particular for that like piece. Like I don't know. Maybe it was. Yeah, let us know below if it was a new piece or whether it was something else.
If anyone's watching.
Yeah, if anyone's watching. But yeah, I thought it was really nice. I liked like the setup that New Earth was like a trap, and like that's a really good idea. I'm surprised that maybe Russell T never really went into it. Like,
well, maybe I was thinking of why he would like introduce that now. Maybe that's something like he's thinking about for one of these novel adaptations or something. Because I doubt Chris Chibnall's going to touch that. So like.
Nah, Chibnall.
I mean, it's got to be something for that, right? If they do like New Earth adaptation for book or a Gridlocked adaptation, maybe they'll throw in stuff. about that.
It would be cool. That would be good, actually. I'd like that quite a lot. But yeah, it was really nice. It was, it was cool that David Tennant came back to do a little bit of voice acting for it. Which I find it surprising that he didn't do then the Human Nature one, but I guess for that one it was told from Daughter of Mine's point of view. So I guess it didn't make much sense. He didn't really need to be there, but for this one it was very nice. Very crazy. Very crazy time. Still going, still getting all this Doctor Who content. It's kind of strange though when you think about it. Like, if none of this happened, we wouldn't have got any of this.
No.
None at all. So it's like a blessing and in disguise.
In a way.
For Doctor Who
in a
fans,
way.
at least.
Yeah.
Because we've got some really cool, good content out of this, like Farewell Sarah Jane and all this stuff, which just wouldn't have ever happened.
I think this is supposed to be the last one as well, so...
Oh, really? That was the last... I mean, makes sense with the kind of story that it was. But, yeah.
Yeah, in terms of, Although it is a bit weird when you think about it, right? Which one are you going to end this Doctor Who, what thing on? New Earth and Gridlocks. It's not the first choice.
Yeah, I guess they did the really big ones already, though. Like they've done a majority of, the fan favourites, haven't they?
There's still quite a few.
I guess, I don't know, Waters of Mars I would have enjoyed doing. I don't think they did that one. But, I don't know, I just always forget about them. Like, they kind of put one post up and then I don't know, I guess I probably should have said...
Yeah, I watch the extra stuff. I don't actually follow along for the watches.
Yeah, the tweet alongs. But,
and I haven't even caught all of the extra stuff. I missed a few weeks.
I mean, there's been a hell of a lot, really, when it comes to all the extra stuff. But, it's just really not that much. It's very interesting how these ties have made a lot more Doctor Who content, but nothing about the new series is, I guess, been heard. Like, no announcements or anything. Like, you'd feel like maybe announcing a writer or something would be good, just to show that this new series is ticking along, keep it in the minds of people.
Maybe not sure about stuff. I mean, we've always kind of had this, especially in the Chibnall era, where we haven't
left it very late, hasn't he? For basically everything. Why? I want things to talk about and to discuss, and he's not letting us. It's not fair.
God damn it!
I've got to write a personal letter and be like, look.
Should we sue? He's affecting our
livelihood.
Yeah.
How dare you, Chibnall? Release some content. Just give us something. One letter in the title of an episode, and we could try and hangman it. Something like that.
I think it was one letter that wouldn't really help.
Well, that's at least it's something to speculate.
I guess.
Especially if you did like a...
Oh, E! What does E mean? Well, Daleks has an E in it.
Well, yeah, exactly. Depending where
Cybermen has an E in it.
If he gave you how many letters it was, and just gave you one letter, that would be kind of fun at least. They should do that anyway. Just clues here and there. Just make it interesting.
Well, just make it more elaborate. Just doing a full-on ARG or something. That'd be fun.
Just instead of just announcing shit, just do a proper announcement later on. But for a week, you could have it as just for speculation. What are the titles of these episodes?
They used to do fun hints by creating websites for individual things. So they had a unit website, for example, just as a promotional thing, but it had different files about different episodes and hinting at stuff. And they used to do there was a few other examples of that, but they used to just do cool stuff like that just to help promote it. Shame they don't do anything like that anymore.
It's kind of crazy that happened before the internet was kind of as big as it is today. Surely now is the time to really be doing that because everyone's online constantly.
I mean, maybe not as a website because people don't
do
really
it on the Doctor Who website.
But even if they just did something on Twitter or something like that.
Stuff like that. Extra content, it clearly shows that it works. That's what they've been doing the last few weeks, and it's gone down really, really well. So it's doing all this extra stuff. I think that's what's important. They do a lot of it on Instagram. I've seen that, where you have to pause to see your story, but it's never anything I don't know. I guess it's all kind of just really generic stuff. What's your day going to be today? And then you pause it, and it gives you a caption, about how your day is going to go.
Right.
And it's that's fun, but it's like a do it and done kind of thing. I guess it kind of works, but I don't know, I feel like when they don't do hints anymore, or they do teasers, they kind of either give you stuff or do kind of fun, there's nothing like mystery stuff. And I guess Doctor Who is somewhat sort of mystery solving, isn't it? Every week it's kind of, it's problem solving and stuff like that, and it's
most of the time, yeah.
I feel like maybe that's something that needs to be tapped into more, do that more like problem solving stuff.
That's why I said an ARG or something.
Explain what an ARG is to the audience and me, because I have no idea what it is.
So basically it's I gotta actually get the but I know what it is, but alternate reality games. So basically it's like you pick up clues from like various sources. It's kind of difficult to explain, but it's kind of like it is like a big like sort of internet mystery. So like examples of it I've seen is was on like one channel where they did like multiple videos doing stuff, but like and they showed like things that you think like, oh, this might be completely unrelated. They might just flash up some numbers,
right.
Like do stuff, but like it's actually a hint. And like in a lot of these things, people like come together on like forums and social media and stuff, all kind of work together to figure this stuff out. So that's what an ARG really is.
Like something like that would, I think, go down really well, like in the community, because I think it would get people talking about positivity in the series rather than all the negative voices being so loud. Because I think a bit like kind of, I don't know, Doctor Who's sometimes a bit like Rick and Morty, where the kind of toxic fan base can be very, very, very loud and it can have a very loud voice.
I think it's the same with every fan base, though, to be fair. But...
I don't know. I feel like Doctor Who definitely has a big, I think, aura around it for people being.
Well, it's a very fragmented fan base, especially now.
Yeah. I mean, there was always going to be that kind of pushback on the female Doctor, and I think like that was completely fine. I think it's just like Chibnall was maybe not the writer to do a female Doctor. Oh. I think if Russell T had done it, I think it would have gone down well. I think Russell T would have been, if I had to choose out of the three like modern Who writers to do a female Doctor, I would have, I think, chosen Russell T to do it.
Well, yeah, maybe out of the three.
Out of like Russell T, Stephen Moffat, and Chibnall.
Yeah.
Or I think at least Chibnall should have maybe, I don't know, done a man to start with, and then like when he was comfortable do the big change. But I guess he wanted to just really define his era, which makes sense. So I get.
Well, he asked Capaldi to stay.
Yeah. So I wonder then, if Capaldi had stayed, would he have done the big reboot then, or would he have waited a season, got comfortable, and then done the big reboot?
Well, I think maybe he would have made his own mark on it immediately. Like, I think he had quite a strong idea about what he wanted to do with it. Well, not really, but like, just in terms of like, I guess I wouldn't even say tone, but just kind of the feel of the show, I guess. He clearly had an idea of what at least a vague idea of kind of what he was wanting to do with it. So I think he would have gone ahead with that regardless.
Do you think it would have been 10 episodes, or do you think he would have stuck to the 12?
Yeah, probably. So I think that's just a management thing. I don't think that's like... I think the whole thing about like, the budget and the CG and such, I think that's just an excuse. I just think he just can't manage 13 episodes, 12 episodes.
Potentially. It'd be interesting to see. I mean, it's hard because it's obviously all speculation from our side, but I do find it kind of difficult to believe that, like, even like when they knocked one off and it was just 12 episodes, like, and I get that there's like an extra 5 minutes on each episode, but I'm not gonna lie, when those extra 5 minutes you could have in one location, you could still do them on a set that you've already done. maybe it takes up an extra couple of hours of pay, which obviously you have to pay everyone and location and so on. So it does add up. But I guess it's, how do you pre-production prepare for it? Like the more pre-production, and if your actors are on the ball and getting it right, in a couple of takes, then it really shouldn't take as long as maybe it is. Maybe they're very relaxed about, doing multiple takes, and that takes time and stuff. And I can understand the slow. There's positives and negatives. So the slow filmmaking means that you can get everything absolutely perfect, and you're like, beautiful, got it in the can. But also when you're doing quicker, you're spending less money, and sometimes I think it makes people more clinical in how they're doing their job, because they know that they need to act quickly because we've only got this amount of time to do it in. So it depends really kind of what method they're doing, because when you're kind of relaxed, it's good because you can make sure you perfect it, but then also maybe people are a bit more over relaxed about doing their job, so more people are making mistakes, and so it eats up more time anyway. But I get a feeling when watching like David Tennant behind the scenes stuff, like they're very like, you can tell they're like, when they're trying to like start shooting, they're very much like, okay, marker, clapperboard, and they kind of shout action really quickly. They're not sitting about, when at least the ones that they show us in the behind the scenes, they don't like, they're very quick to get going. And I just wonder what the current film style making is. Is it let's do this, let's go, let's get this in the can, high pressure, but high reward, or is it somewhat different?
Who knows?
Because sometimes it can work out. I mean, Joker was very much the more relaxed kind of filmmaking. Like for the whole bathroom scene, they literally got on set and they're like, "Would Arthur really do this?" And then they just spent an hour working out.
But it does make more sense to capture a lot of footage for a movie. Then you can cut it down.
Obviously, you got a big
as opposed to a TV show where there's like kind of a set time limit and a very set budget.
Episode. You're rarely cutting anything from the episodes, and it's interesting. It's very interesting. I wonder always how much is cut actually from like Doctor Who, because there's a lot of behind the scenes sometimes, but they're never super long.
No,
I think one of the longest ones that I've seen cut was like when they visited Agatha Christie before she died.
Oh yeah, they changed the whole ending.
They just replaced it with them in the TARDIS looking at the book. And I think I agree with the ending that they actually went with. But it's like, I wonder actually how many, like, what alternative takes are out there, or what is out there, because it's all stored somewhere. It's kind of crazy to think.
They have released a fair amount.
They released like deleted scenes, but they never released like alternative takes.
And there's bits and pieces. Like,
I'd love to see like Capaldi's other takes for like the Zygon War, inversion speech, because he would have done that at least a multitude of ways. Like it would be really interesting to see his other like idea for doing it, and kind of like even like 50th anniversary, seeing like the different takes that Matt Smith and David Tennant did, like in their interactions, like how they slightly changed it depending on what was going on. It would be interesting to see all that. I wonder if maybe one day, maybe for the 60th, they could release those alternative takes, just as in like a YouTube video. That would be quite nice, I think. Just stuff like that, like seeing other ways that people, because I think that's always interesting, and what actors don't get credit for is like they can like do a line so many different ways, and sometimes there's a really good way that just one that the editor / director preferred.
I mean, we saw a bit of it with David Tennant's final lines.
Yes, and that's like the really interesting, like the I don't want to go, and like the levels that he did it in Sadness, and like I think they chose the good middle ground. Because there was like one where even like a tear ran down his face, which was just slightly too much. I think that would have crushed me as a kid if I saw that one. God, David Tennant regenerating was one of the saddest fucking moments of my life. Jesus. Yeah, that was hard hitting. Hard hitting drama.
Yeah.
Always gets me. Even when it's like not a great story, like the regeneration always makes me sad, you know, like even Capaldi's, even though Twice Upon a Time was a bit naff, like Capaldi's regeneration I still really enjoyed, especially like the whole dialogue was really nice. And what I liked about that was they kind of, Moffat had something written, but then actually they changed it over like the days coming up to shooting it, or while they were shooting it, they were writing and rewriting lines. So it was very much what they came up with on the day is what was kind of said, which was really cool. Kind of a bit like, you know, and sometimes like Iron Man, stuff like that, you know, that was a lot on set, kind of, they knew where the plot had to go, but really what they said was very much kind of, you know, creatively there. And sometimes you get like fucking gold out of that. That's why sometimes, like, you know, having like a timer going and like being a bit more like, we gotta shoot this today, and, you know, get this done. So yeah, it's interesting. I wonder if you compared the two productions on, was Russell T's very much like, you know, balls to the walls and like, you know, get going, and if this new era is a bit more relaxed and making sure we get everything exactly the way we want it, and so on and so on.
It's difficult to say. Come back, Doctor Who Confidential. We need these answers.
I mean, that never really even, like, you know, that is kind of never showed like the really interesting. Like, you need like insider information to know what's kind of going on with.
Yeah, we get a bit of a hint of it, I suppose, from those sorts of things, just in terms of, because you do get little bits like footage of them shooting and such, so you can get like an impression, I guess, out of that.
They
as
did
opposed
it behind the scenes when Jack was back, and I know that there was a lot like of people just kind of standing around, but I mean, when you edit it together, that Mandip Gill's going around asking people questions, it does look like everyone's just kind of standing around, but it doesn't actually mean everyone is. But you know, it's like it looked very relaxed, is from what I could tell, because I actually managed to get her to do this walking around and, you know, trying different people's jobs and trying on an earpiece and contacting people, and it's like it makes you feel like, and that was all shot in like a warehouse one day, like very easy to shoot, like you could get that done in a day. Like, John Barrowman was definitely there for only a day, and that was it. For Doctor Who. So, you know, I wonder what's going to happen in the next series. I'm kind of intrigued. I am intrigued to see what happens next. Like, while I didn't like the Timeless Child, like, I like the idea of a Timeless Child, I just didn't like it being the Doctor. I'll clarify. I didn't mind the Doctor having past selves that she doesn't remember, but like being the Timeless Child was just, I think, slightly too much. But you know, forgetting completely everything, I think it works. It's like having a hard drive and wiping it from scratch. You know, it's still the same hard drive, but if it's blank, then everything that the Doctor still was is intact. Like, it doesn't change anything. But I don't like. Obviously, having the police box TARDIS made no sense. So
and the fact that she was still called the Doctor,
and that needs to be addressed as well. So like those two things, I'm like, it can be fixed, it can be sorted, that if it's addressed. But the issue is with it being the Timeless Child. I mean, they can 180 it. I mean, it was just the Master who said the Doctor was the Timeless Child. Doesn't completely mean it's true. The Master lied.
Yeah, but what's worse than going with an ambitious, like, world-changing, like, thing is copping out on it. Like, we've seen that with Star Wars, right? Last Jedi was like very, very controversial, and like, you know, a lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people did like it, but ultimately nobody liked The Rise of Skywalker because it copped out on it and was like, oh no, it doesn't, you know, like, that's worse.
Well, what would you think's a cop out then? Like, because I think, like, if they said that actually Susan was the Timeless Child and that's why the Doctor was looking after her, like, Susan wasn't actually her granddaughter, like, that's why they ran away. Like, if that was, and like, but the Doctor's mind, like, even wiped the knowledge of the Timeless Child, so the Doctor generally believed that Susan was his granddaughter. And like, would that be a cop out? Because I would like that as a plot device, and I think I'd prefer Susan being a Timeless Child than the Doctor being the Timeless Child, because it makes the Doctor too much of a, you know.
I would have done if they'd established that,
What happens?
Because it would have made sense in the context of the Timeless Child story, because of course you had this kind of mother figure and the Timeless Child, and the Doctor easily could have fit into that more, mother figure instead, like the Explorer lady, whatever her name was. That could have been the Doctor, and then the Timeless Child could have been Susan. I mean, that would have, made sense. But now that they said it, now that they've destroyed Gallifrey because of it. Now they've, it's like now that you've gone that far with it, with this like notion that the Doctor is a timeless child, it's like if you turn back now and go, oh no, it was Susan. Don't worry about it, fan. Don't explode. It's
well, if they did it like really flat like that, but if they did like a big finale around it. And like they actually addressed it properly, like the Doctor believes that she is, and then suddenly like there's enough of revelation. I think that would be okay. You just have to make a big thing about it.
It's a very tricky.
It's a tight wire, I guess. It's a tightrope.
Yeah, it depends on the quality of the story, quite frankly. I just find a good thing about the expectations and them being shattered and like having that kind of be like it makes me think of Blade Runner 2049, and I love that movie. I don't know how well it'd work here though.
I agree. It's like it's tough because I would love if they could make the Doctor not the Timeless Child. I'm fine with the past memories. I get that. That's cool. That's a plot line that I think is completely fine. It's just like being this, always having to be something like, it's this issue which people do with a lot of heroes. They always have to make the hero more important, more powerful than they thought they were. It happens in a lot of cartoons, and then like just other TV shows.
A lot of things, yeah.
And I always find that kind of, it makes the main hero less relatable because you're like, oh, dang it, like.
It makes him less special because like this was almost like a predetermined thing. Like the Doctor was always going to be somebody special because the Doctor from the start was like this special like
being from another dimension.
Whereas the Doctor was more interesting and more as a character when the Doctor was someone who decided to go out and initially just because the Doctor wanted to explore the universe and take his granddaughter away from Gallifrey, but in the end ends up like finding a love for humanity and wanting for all these kind of various races and such, and makes it a mission to help out because it's the right thing to do. So, and that was what was made the Doctor far more interesting and like compelling as a character, whereas now it's just like, oh, the Doctor was always doing that, even before even before the Doctor could remember, the Doctor was doing these things and helping and whatever as the Doctor. It's like, it just makes the Doctor less compelling, and it makes William Hartnell's Doctor less special.
Yeah, and it's like I don't like calling the Roof Doctor because that's pointless, because then it's like, well, she's Ruth, that's her name, like it's not Doctor Who anymore, it's like she's called Ruth. Like it's like the point of calling it the First Doctor is because he has no other title, we don't know his name,
Yeah.
And I don't know,
Doctor minus 100 and
whichever
68 whatever,
then let's include all of the cast of The Brain of Morbius. Because they're all in there. Oh boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I would like. I'm actually still intrigued by the next series. I did enjoy the last series. There was enough that I enjoyed in it that I'd say it was a solid. It was a solid season, I'd say.
I think by well, considering how kind of mediocre series 11 was for the most part, yeah, sure, but it's like I think we're thinking series 12 is better than it was just because of how kind of mediocre series 11 was. I don't actually know in comparison. Like, I think this whole Doctor in Lockdown thing and like seeing like rewatching clips of like prior episodes and such, it just like made me think more and more. It's just like are we just thinking Series 12 is that much better just because it is?
I think it's just
we've been given such a low bar that like anything higher would have made it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I need to do like a complete watch, of all of them, and I kind of in that moment I can do a definitive of which is like which seasons, actually rank the seasons. Maybe we should do that as a big podcast special at some point. Take a break for a week or a couple of weeks, do a big watch-a-thon.
Oh, geez.
Try and get through them all, and then come back and do our ranking. That might be quite good, actually. Could be worth doing. Smash through them. Maybe take a month, because that would be quite a big one.
That would be a very big ask to get through all 12 series.
Yikes. I mean, if you did you could do like a series in a day, and then but you just have to
That would imply that I had we're still working.
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying.
How on earth are we going to get through a series in a day?
All you need is then 12 days, don't you? Over the space of maybe let's make it 2 months. It would be interesting.
I think even that's pushing it, probably.
It would be good to be able to see to rank it, watching one after the other, and kind of being well, okay, obviously series 1 is great, then watch series 2 and be well, which one do I compare it to? And it's well, then when you do series 3, it's well, I preferred it above series 2, for example, so you knew that it would be there, and then it's because you can use the one from before to decide whereabouts would you place it as well.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was doing with my episode rankings.
Yeah, and I think that it works as a method. So maybe we should do that one day. Just do obviously it would probably change, but just to see actually how Series 12 does fare. I guess where would we count the specials? I guess we do that as there. Because adding them to Series 4 makes Series 4 basically unstoppable.
Yeah.
So I think
they'd have to be their own thing.
Work out the rules, yeah, I guess. Yeah. And where do we include the Christmas special? I guess we do it in box sets, I guess. Do it that way.
Yeah, pretty much. So Christmas Invasion would be Series 2 and so on.
Cool. That'd be interesting. Anyway, I think we'll leave it there because there's just not really much else to talk about.
No.
Short and sweet. Nice. There we go. Well, yeah, that's it, guys. Comment below what you think. Do you think the series is done slowly or whatever? Are you enjoying the stuff? Do you think there should be more content, more interactive stuff, and not just Instagram stuff where you kind of click it and see how your day's gonna go?
I mean, there's always content. It's just not necessarily on social media pages. There's always Big Finish and more books and BBC Audio.
It just needs to be to catch. Yeah, but those are all for people who are fans, the common audience, the general public. That's where you need to try and reach out to and get their attention. And the ways to do that is through social media platforms.
Yeah,
that's just ultimately how you're going to do it. But I remember a lot of people said when John Sim was going to be back in the 12th Doctor, they were saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going to watch it now. I'm going to watch it to see John Sim. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that." However, people said that at the start of a series and not towards the end. So that's the issue when you show.
That happens all the time on Twitter, though.
When you show your cards too early, you can screw yourself up, basically.
I mean, that again, that's what Twitter always says, right? It's oh, I like this decision. I'm going to watch it now, and then they inevitably don't, or watch for a week and give up. That is just the way of Twitter.
Yeah.
People who say stuff that don't really mean it in the heat of the moment.
I mean, viewers did go up for the finale at least after dropping, so, but not amazingly.
No.
I thought they would have super peaked, but that's why you do it a big out of nowhere, the Master's back, and then do a big, trailer push just about the Master being back. Really specific stuff. Push for this, push for that. Maybe it's not happening. Maybe producers aren't. Maybe they're too much concentrating on the show rather than the bigger picture stuff, maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows what goes on in the world of Doctor Who? Not even the writers.
Yeah.
There we go. We'll see you next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.